Okay, so this video is based on the observation that you can get a quirky melody generator out of the divide-by-NCOM on the Serge Modular Music Systems synthesizer if you feed it back from the comparator output into the minus input. So I'll take you through the steps for this for how I came across this observation. So if you have an oscillator, let's say the new Timbral oscillator, I'm connecting the variable output, the variable waveform output into the audio output of the synthesizer so we can hear it. We change the waveform with this knob, and I'll take the step output of the divide-by-NCOM and I'll plug it into the 1 volt per octave input of the new Timbral oscillator, and then if I clock the divide-by-NCOM using, for example, the one side of the dual universal slope generator, so I'm using the end output of that to clock the plus input of the divide-by-NCOM. I have the plus input knob set around about 3 o'clock. The behavior of this depends a little bit on the setting of this knob, and this is a pretty standard use of the step output of the divide-by-NCOM. Now you can have a number of different steps, and they're tuned actually in whole tones if you plug them. So that means it's 1/6 of a volt per step if you plug it directly into the 1 volt per octave. So we'll have a few steps there, and then to get the feedback around the divide-by-NCOM, you take the comparator output. The comparator is set pretty much in the middle, the comparator voltage, and you plug it into the minus input of the same module. And so now we get something else other than the regular staircase. We're getting a pattern which is jumping around a little bit, and the number of steps in it and also the behavior will depend a little bit on where you set this. At the moment there are 6 steps going on there. Once you have it running in this kind of pattern, you can make some timbral modifications to the sound a little bit. We could take the variable output, put it, for example, into wave multiplier number 1 input, output of the wave multiplier number 1, put it back into the audio, and now I can use, for example, the voltage output, the out of the universal slope generator, to create an envelope with it using the voltage control input of the wave multiplier. This is set to about 2 o'clock. The gain is set to about, what we say, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And so we're getting a nice envelope there. We can use the same output, the basic output of the universal slope generator, to, for example, modulate a little bit the original waveform that's going into this wave multiplier. So you can set the waveform in different places. A little bit of minus modulation on the waveform gives lots of very cool different kind of timbral modifications, and it depends, of course, whether you have this wave multiplier in the high position or the low position. But anyway, in either position it produces some really nice sounds. Now there's with regard to the behavior of this NCOM, then there's something important I want to say, is that how it behaves depends a lot on what the polarity of the signal that you're actually clocking it with. So if you're clocking it with the universal slope generator, you're clocking it with a basically mainly unipolar positive clock. Whereas if you clock it with a bipolar clock, it starts to behave differently. Then it will actually trigger a step on both excursions, both the positive excursion and the negative excursion of the trigger. So I prefer to work with this so that it's only being triggered by a unipolar positive, because then I can synchronize things better. If it's triggering twice as fast, then it's difficult to synchronize things to it. But if it is possible to trigger it with a bipolar signal. So now we've got a nice pattern coming out, and we can start to change a little bit the well, that's a nice one. It's quirky. You can't really be completely sure what pattern you're going to get out of it. You can't even be completely sure how many steps you're going to get either. That's 8 steps now. Anyway, that's for what it's worth. That's a little way of kind of abusing the divide-by-NCOM, which is a little bit of fun. It's essentially a sequencer that you can patch up in about the space of about 3 seconds. So, thank you for watching. Bye.